Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attendance. I used to work with Steve, the previous speaker, in Argentina in the early 90s, so yeah, hadn't seen him since. So CRN Resources is a West Australian focused nickel explorer developer. We've got two projects in Western Australia. We're rapidly developing our main one called Fisher East, and it's looking quite exciting, and we plan to grow it rapidly from this point on. So I'll start it. So our disclaimers, you should read these at your convenience. So investment highlights for CRN. We're a nickel-focused explorer developer. We're solely focused on nickel. We're in class 1 nickel, which is sulfide nickel above 1%, and high grade that is. And we're also in a tier 1 jurisdiction. We're in Western Australia, and we have certainty of tenure, all those sort of things. We've got a lot of upside on our project. Our project is highly scalable. All our deposits are completely open laterally. They're also open down plunge. We also have a fairly good infrastructure advantage as well, because we're 115 kilometres from Nickel West's operation at Leinster Mount Keith, and Cosmos is in that area as well. So there's 3 concentrators within 115 kilometres by air. By road, which is how we would transport if we were toll treating, it's about 200 kilometres. That gives us development options when we get to that point. So we're in a new nickel belt. We have 100% of the tenure there. The prospective rocks are all within CRN's tenure, and we've got complete control. So we're 100% ownership of the tenements. There's no joint venture partners. There's no other arrangements. It's 100% owned, and very attractive market capitalisation. So currently we're $32 million Australian on the ASX. So company snapshot is we've got 85 million shares on offer currently. We've got a market cap of currently it's, finding it hard to read without my glasses on, $32 million, EV of around about 27 million. We've got about just under $5 million in the bank, and share price performance this year has been fairly stable. We're sitting in that high 30 range, been there all year. So hopefully that'll go high, a lot higher. So the board and management is myself. I'm a geologist by training, exploration geologist, and a lot of experience in geology. Been an exploration geologist for 25, 30 years. Management as well. Trevor Benson is our chairman. A lot of you will know Trevor. Trevor's had a lot of experience in investment banking, finance. He's chairman of Ionic Rare Earths as well, a couple of other companies. Alex Passmore is also a non-executive director. He's managing director of Musket Resources. He comes from a geology finance background. And Richard Bevan's our other non-executive director, and he's ex-Cassini Resources managing director. He's currently chairman of Killy Resources and Naria Metals, so a lot of experience. So our strategy at the moment, we're currently exploring our projects, exploring and developing our resources. We'll continue that work. We'll also do, this is at Fisher East, we'll also do some early work at Collierabby, some drilling later this year. And we'll end up doing some metallurgical test work at Fisher East as well. We'll manage to fit in a few holes for that. For next year, we need to convert our resources to indicated to assist our scoping study and feasibility work, and we'll also continue exploration, obviously, and then we're looking for 2024 to finalise the feasibility work and have a decision to mine. So our current resources, Fisher East, we've got 6.4 million tonnes at 1.8% nickel for 116 kilotonnes of contained nickel. This is class 1 nickel sulphide. We have a very focused exploration program. We're currently drilling there right now, diamond drilling right now. We have 4 deposits there at Fisher East. They're all on the same contact. They're Kambalda style nickel channelized komatiite flows. And we've had a lot of success in the last 6 months or so, where we've got a maiden resource at a prospect called Sabre. That was announced about a month ago, and we've also had a resource upgrade at our deposit called Musket. So at Kolyarabi, we have a different style of nickel mineralisation. That's a intrusive style. That's more akin to Julimar, Nova, Savannah deposits in Western Australia. That is at a more early stage of exploration. It's a smaller scale at this stage. We have about 15 kilometres of strike there. Lots of indications of mineralisation and plenty of upside, but at an earlier stage of exploration. So looking at Fisher East, we've got 4 resources there. They're all on the same contact. It's a komatiite lava sitting on the base, sitting on some sediments that's now been overturned and inverted, so it's upright. They all plunge down into the ground. They're drilled to various phases, but they're all completely open at depth, down plunge, and to some extent laterally along strike. So they all range in grade between Camelwood, for instance, is 2% nickel. Cannonball is 2.8% nickel. Musket is 1.9% nickel, and Sabre is 1.4% nickel. Looking at Musket in particular, the resource there is 2.4 million tonnes, 1.9% nickel, 45.5 kilotonnes contained nickel. We've drilled that deposit down to 600 metres, deepest hole. On that diagram there, all the holes are shown. There's no other holes. So there's a lot of areas around the deposit that don't have drill coverage. And it's quite a wide channel. It's 450 metres wide. The thickest intercepts are around about 16, 17 metres thick, and that's in that dark pink colour. That's where the indicated resource is. It's purely a function of drill density. We need about 50 metre drill spacing to get it into indicated. The rest of the deposit, it's around about 80 or 100 metres, and that drill spacing would need to come down to get it in indicated. So that's in inferred currently, the lighter pink. It's dipping towards, away from the screen at about 65 degrees, and it's plunging semi-vertically on that dip. So the mineralisation is high tenor nickel sulphide. There's a high deportment of pentlandite in the sulphide species, and that gives us very high grades when we get massive sulphide. So massive sulphide at Musket is around about 20% nickel. Highly desirable, obviously, and the disseminated zones are around about between 1 and 5% nickel. So, and critically, the whole thing is open, completely open down plunge, vertically and laterally and internally. So just a look at the mineralisation. That's the komatiite there. We've got a fairly consistent grade profile down there. Where it goes where it goes semi-massive, we get the high grade. So that zone there is where it's semi-massive, and that's the samples there. So this is, for those people that don't know what this is a tray of NQ core. Each row is just under 1 metre in length, and the sample is from there to there, and it's running 4.9%. It's because of this little zone there. So what we're doing here is we've got a drilling program currently underway. We're looking in those areas in blue. I've highlighted the areas that I think that we can expand the resource into as blue coloured there, and we're currently doing a drilling program. Those red circles there, the current drill holes. This has just got underway, so we're on the first hole already, and it'll take about 2 to 3 months to complete that work. And the idea is to find out whether we've got any extra resource in the sub 600 metre level, and we're targeting all of those holes are outside the resource, so you know, the success will be new resource if we get that. So as I said before, the resource is completely open at depth as well. We're doing this work to have a better understanding of the grade and high grade zones and thicker zones, and then follow those down at depth later. So going on to the Sabre resource, which is about 6 kilometres on the same contact further south from Musket. It's a resource of 1.8 million tonnes, 1.4% nickel, 24.5 kilotonnes of contained nickel. We've drilled this down to about 300 metres only. It's a very large channel. It's a separate channel, but a very large one, 700 metres wide. And it's got a much shallower plunge. It's around about 56 degrees plunging to the north. The drill spacing here is a lot wider. It's about 80 metres in most of it. And it's still open down plunge, but it's open internally as well. So why I'm emphasising this one and why we're doing work at Sabre is because we feel there's a lot more nickel mineralisation within the Sabre system, and what we're showing there is a air core program where we drilled over the top of it. We got very high grade PGE, platinum group elements, platinum and palladium, very high numbers there, and it was very poddy. There was 3 main pods. Our interpretation of that data was that was showing us where high grade zones within the mineralisation were, and then plunging down. So that central one, we were fairly confident that was correct. There was high grade hits in there, and we followed that. What I did is I showed in blue again those areas that we thought were prospective and worth investigating. So to that end, we designed some drill holes in those blue areas exclusively, essentially. All those holes have now been drilled, and we've released results from the first hole, which is that one there, and we had 5.7 metres at 2.6% nickel with about a 1.1 metre intercept of massive sulphide. So the theory of the high grade zones within the ore body looks like it's pretty good, and we're following that up rapidly. So quickly, Collier Abbey, that's shown there. We've got a mineral resource at Olympia, much smaller in scale, 500,000 tonnes, 1.6% nickel. We've got about 15 kilometres of strike, multiple drill intercepts, and a lot of upside there. So concluding remarks, exactly the same. You know, we're in nickel, a lot of upside, infrastructure advantage. We're in a new nickel belt. We have it 100%, and we're very attractively priced. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Statement from Canon. Musket Resources is next.